What if the reason your life feels heavy, confusing, or stuck right now has nothing to do with what you're doing wrong, but everything to do with an invisible shift happening inside you? Something powerful is unfolding within your energy, and you might not even realize it. It's not because of meditation, positive thinking, or spiritual techniques. It's not something you planned, prayed for, or even expected. It's a silent activation, a deep collapse of an old frequency you've outgrown. And as it falls away, your external world begins to break apart too, not because you're failing, but because something higher is trying to take its place. You might feel exhausted for no clear reason. You might suddenly feel irritated by things you used to tolerate, maybe places, people, or activities that once brought you joy now leave you feeling disconnected. And while it may seem like anxiety or bad luck, it's not. What's really happening is that your old energy, your previous identity, patterns, and vibrations can no longer hold up under the weight of this shift. You're being pulled into a new frequency, and there's no going back. You didn't choose this awakening. It chose you. You didn't schedule this collapse. It began in silence, deep within your soul. Now, everything is being stripped of illusion. The false layers are peeling away. What once worked no longer does. The mind wants to understand. It wants to fix it. But this moment isn't asking you to figure it out. It's asking you to feel it, to surrender, to let the old fall, so something real can rise. Long ago, Thoth, the ancient Egyptian sage, understood this kind of transformation. He didn't use words to explain truth. He used vibration to embody it. His teachings weren't written in books because they couldn't be. They were never meant to be studied with the mind. They were meant to be received through the body, through the field, through presence. Thoth knew that real truth can't be spoken. It must be felt. Imagine trying to explain the silence of a sacred temple or the full presence of a moment that takes your breath away. Language fails, but your energy doesn't. And Thoth spoke through that energy. His field carried the codes that could only be unlocked by those ready to receive, not intellectually, but vibrationally. In ancient temples, initiates were not lectured. They were brought into deep silence. In that silence, the old frequencies fell away, and the new ones began to settle in. Nothing was taught. Everything was transmitted. Transformation didn't happen through knowledge. It happened through resonance. You didn't get a teaching. You became the teaching. You didn't read the truth. You remembered it. But to receive that kind of shift, you have to be empty. You have to be still. You have to let go of who you think you are. Because most of what you identify with, your story, your beliefs, your limitations, is just repeated energy. It's not you. It's conditioning, programming, a pattern that got stuck in your field and repeated itself until you believed it was your identity. But it's not. And now, it's breaking. That's why you feel so strange. Why life feels unfamiliar. The vibration that once defined you is failing. And something new, something ancient, is calling you forward. But it doesn't come through thinking. It doesn't come through effort. It comes through surrender. Still, even after touching this shift, the mind often rushes in. It says, now that I'm vibrating higher, I want to manifest this, attract that, change everything. But this new field isn't here to give you what you want. It's here to make you whole. And if your mind is still trying to control, still trying to force results, your energy will send mixed signals. You'll be saying one thing, but vibrating another. You say you want love, but your body closes when someone gets close. You say you want freedom, but your choices still come from fear. You affirm abundance, but your breath tightens when you look at your bank account. Your body tells the truth. Your nervous system reveals the real signal. And the universe isn't listening to your words. It's listening to your vibration. This is where most people get stuck. They think they're aligned, but what they're really emitting is lack, fear, tension, doubt. Not because they're doing it wrong, but because they don't yet realize how deeply their past programming still runs their energy. The truth is, you're not broken. You're not blocked. You're just unaware of the unconscious frequency still moving through you. You might say, I'm ready to receive, but your body tenses when the unfamiliar shows up. You might speak of gratitude, but deep down, you feel disappointed. You talk about love, but you flinch when it arrives. These tiny, unconscious reactions are more powerful than any intention because they carry the real message. They are the energetic signature you're sending out, whether you realize it or not. And this is the mirror you now face. The mirror that shows you. You may be wanting one thing, but vibrating the opposite. Not because you're bad, but because your old energy hasn't been cleaned yet. That's why it feels like the universe isn't listening, but it is. It's simply reflecting what you haven't yet brought into your awareness. This is the most important part of the shift. When you stop blaming life for not changing and start taking responsibility for what you're still broadcasting. Not your thoughts, but your frequency, your reactions, your nervous system, your posture, your breath, the invisible language of your being. The universe doesn't respond to your effort. It responds to your clarity. And clarity begins in your hidden gestures. The moments when you smile but feel resistance. When you say yes but tighten your throat. When you speak positively but your body recoils. These are the places your energy is still split. And that split is what creates confusion in the field. You can't manifest a future while your body is still vibrating the past. You can't attract love while your energy is still armored. You can't live in peace while your nervous system is still in defense mode. And this has nothing to do with what you say. It has everything to do with what you're holding. That's why this shift is so intense. Because it's not asking you to do more. It's asking you to feel more. To observe yourself more. To become so honest, so present, that you stop pretending. You stop performing. You stop vibrating contradiction. And you start radiating truth. When that happens, your frequency reorganizes. Not through effort, but through alignment. There is a moment when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions stop fighting each other. They merge. They move as one. And in that moment, the field hears you clearly, because there's no more noise, no more confusion, no more mixed signals. You're not trying to manifest. You're living what you've become. You're not seeking signs. You are the sign. You're not waiting to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. This is the foundation of true power. Not effort, not strategy. Coherence. The complete alignment of your being. When your vibration is clean, steady, and true, the universe cannot ignore it. It mirrors back your frequency with exact precision, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped resisting yourself. You no longer need to prove anything. You no longer need to explain. Your presence says it all. And that presence is what Thoth encoded into his teachings, not through words, but through energy. That's what you're stepping into now, a state where life starts responding differently, not because you found a secret formula, but because you became the formula. You're not chasing your future anymore. You're embodying it. You're not trying to get somewhere. You're becoming the place. And from here, everything changes. Quietly, effortlessly, completely. The only thing left is to accept it. So write it now and mean it with your whole being. I accept the new frequency. Let the field hear you. Let the vibration anchor in. And let the universe rise to meet you where you truly are. There is a sacred vibration, one that has been hidden in the most secret and ancient teachings passed down from Thoth himself. This vibration doesn't belong to any religion or any language. It's not something you can understand with the mind or repeat with the tongue. It is a frequency, pure, wordless, and powerful. It carries a name that very few have dared to speak, and even fewer have been able to embody. This name is not just a word. It is a pulse, a signal that awakens only in those who are truly ready to live from integrity, inner peace, and spiritual truth. The name is Sir A.K., but even saying it out loud doesn't capture what it really is. Because Sir A.K. is not a philosophy to believe in, a ritual to follow, or an idea to discuss. Sir A.K. is a vibration you enter, a state of being you allow, a way of living where your energy becomes your anchor and your presence becomes your power. In this sacred state, the soul no longer searches, the mind no longer overthinks, the body no longer trembles from fear or scarcity. There is no longer a sense of urgency, no timeline to chase, no desperation to change the world around you. Everything becomes still, clear, steady. It is in this stillness that everything begins to transform, not through force, not through striving, but through silent alignment. When you live in this state, the world outside of you loses its control over your emotions. You no longer react to your environment. You stabilize it. You're not being pulled by events, by people, by uncertainty. You're grounded in something far deeper, far more stable. You become the one who anchors the energy of every room you enter. This vibration is what happens when the body stops living in fear of not having enough, when the mind stops calculating every outcome, and when the soul stops seeking validation. It is the moment you realize that the thing you've been trying to manifest is already within you. You're not trying to attract it anymore. You're already embodying it. You're not hoping for it. You're living it. And the most incredible part is that you don't have to build this state. You just have to allow it. It doesn't require hard work or effort. It doesn't need mantras or techniques. It only requires one thing: a quiet, powerful decision to stop moving toward the life you desire and start moving from the place of already having it. You breathe differently. You move differently. You think differently. Your whole energy changes, and the world begins to respond to you in a way it never has before. Sir K is not about pushing or proving. It's not about asking or chasing. It's about magnetizing. And what magnetizes is not your words, not your thoughts, but your vibration. Your silent frequency begins to draw in everything that matches it. You become like a star, and all that belongs to you starts to orbit around your presence. You don't have to try. You don't have to convince. You don't have to beg. You simply hold your energy steady, and everything begins to move. This state is rare because it can only emerge once the old patterns have dissolved. It doesn't tolerate masks. It cannot be mixed with doubt or fear. It is too pure for that. That's why it's so powerful, because it is real. Thoth called this the true gold, not the gold found in the world, but the gold that exists within someone who has remembered who they truly are. A person who doesn't need to rush, doesn't need to prove, doesn't need to speak loudly to be seen. Their energy speaks for them. Their stillness moves the field. Their presence shifts the atmosphere. And when this presence holds long enough, the universe begins to respond, not with ordinary signs, not with vague feelings, but with precision, with symbols, with signs that carry a specific, undeniable frequency. One of those signs, the one no one forgets, is 777. This number doesn't appear because you asked for a sign. It appears because the field has recognized your vibration. It is the confirmation that you've stabilized, that you've stopped wavering, that your energy is now steady, clean, and aligned. 777 is not a prediction. It's not a promise of something that might happen. It's evidence that something is already happening. It's the universe saying, you've become what you were seeking. It's not a message of hope. It's a message of recognition. And when you see it, something inside of you knows. It's not excitement. It's not shock. It's peace. A deep, silent peace that says, yes, this is real. This is true. I am finally here. But this is where the real test begins. Because once your field has stabilized and the sign has arrived, the natural impulse is to expect results, to look for immediate change, to ask for proof. But instead of rewards, the universe gives you silence. And this silence is not rejection. It is a test. The field already knows your vibration. It has read your signal. The code has been accepted. But now it wants to know, can you hold this frequency without needing to be rewarded for it? Can you stay steady even when nothing around you seems to be moving? This is where most people fall. They start looking again, waiting, questioning, asking, why hasn't anything happened yet? Did I do something wrong? Was it all just in my head? And slowly the old self begins to return. The old thoughts creep back in, not loudly, quietly, as logic, as doubt, as false humility. They whisper, maybe you're fooling yourself. Maybe it's not real. Remember last time? And suddenly, without realizing it, you're vibrating uncertainty again. You're second guessing. You're shrinking. You're sending mixed signals to the field. Thoth warned us of this moment. He said the old self does not go down easily. It disguises itself. It tries to survive. It uses your own thoughts against you. But make no mistake, this is fear. And fear, even in the smallest amount, disrupts the field. A single impatient thought, a single self-critical emotion, one moment of doubt. That's all it takes to collapse the coherence you've been building. And this is the most dangerous moment of the journey. because this is the moment when everything is ready to manifest. But if you abandon the frequency now, if you lose your inner stability, you will not see the results. Not because you're not worthy, but because you didn't hold long enough. The truth is, the universe is already moving. Your field is already shifting. Time is already bending in your favor. But results don't fall out of the sky instantly. They must pass through layers of reality, and each layer needs a sustained vibration. The universe is asking, will you trust what's already happening even when it hasn't arrived yet? Will you hold the truth inside of you even when the world shows you nothing? This is the part that defines everything. Because once you can stay steady without evidence, your vibration is no longer a temporary state. It becomes your new identity. As long as your stability depends on results, you're still waiting. But when your inner state becomes unconditional, when you remain anchored even in silence, then the universe knows you're ready. And that's when everything begins to respond. You don't have to resist the old patterns anymore. You just stop reacting to them. You stop picking up the old story. You stop accepting the old role. And you do this not with effort, but with a quiet decision to stay. And when you stay long enough, reality begins to bend. You start to feel it, not as a metaphor, but as a real, physical shift. Time changes. People show up exactly when they're needed. Answers arrive before you ask. The impossible becomes effortless. What once took years now takes days. What once felt distant becomes tangible. You have entered what the ancient initiates called living time. Not time that counts hours, but time that bends. Time that listens. Time that cooperates with your vibration. And this kind of time only responds to those who have held the frequency long enough to rewrite the energy field around them. And when that happens, something extraordinary occurs. The universe stops testing and starts supporting. Doors open that you didn't knock on. The right people appear without effort. Opportunities that once felt impossible now flow freely into your life. Not because you asked, but because you are. You're no longer attracting with desire. You're attracting with identity. You've become the very thing you were once searching for. But even here, there is a deeper layer, because your external reality may be shifting, but there may still be unconscious patterns hidden deep inside you, inherited beliefs, old vibrations, codes you didn't even know were there. For the shift to fully complete, these hidden codes must be rewritten, and that doesn't happen through rituals or words. It happens through energetic integrity, through alignment so deep, your presence speaks louder than your thoughts. Your energy carries a tone, a signature, a silent frequency that the universe responds to. This is your true vibrational identity. It is made of three things: the dominant emotion you live in, the belief you carry without realizing, and the way your presence fills a space. This is what the field reads. This is what people feel when they meet you. And this is what reality uses to organize itself around you. That's why so many people say affirmations, practice gratitude, follow spiritual steps, and still attract lack or struggle, because their energy is still vibrating the old story. They speak abundance, but carry fear. They say they trust, but hold doubt. They visualize love, but still believe they're unworthy of it. And the universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to energy. It responds to who you are. not who you pretend to be. Thoth understood this. That's why he never gave formulas. Because no formula can change your vibration if your foundation is still built on fear, abandonment, or unworthiness. No technique works if your dominant emotion is still self-sabotage. What creates transformation is not effort. It is a full body shift in frequency. A moment when your emotional base changes, not because you forced it, but because you saw the truth and you decided to live from it. And when that happens, your field clears. Your vibration stabilizes. The universe begins to hear you clearly. You don't need to scream your desires. You don't need to force results. You simply radiate the truth. I am this now. Not, I want. Not, I hope. But, I am. And the universe must match it. Because that is how vibration works. And maybe you've already begun this. Maybe the signs are already showing. People respond to you differently. Conversations flow without resistance. Opportunities align with ease. You don't chase. They find you. The repetition is gone. The new has arrived. And you realize this isn't about trying to manifest anymore. It's about being so aligned that the world has no choice but to respond. Because now, you're not just living in faith. You're vibrating in truth. You've entered the frequency of coherence. And everything that belongs to you can now see you clearly. It can find you. It can reach you. Because you are no longer hiding. You are no longer doubting. You are finally living as who you were always meant to be. And the entire field of reality has no choice but to mirror that back to you. Every moment, every breath, every step forward, you are not trying anymore. You already are. A quiet shift begins inside your body. It might feel like peace, like a knowing, like energy moving through your chest or your skin. You don't always understand it with your mind, but you feel it. Then, almost like magic, something happens in the outside world that mirrors what you felt. A sign, a message, an unexpected breakthrough. But this isn't random. It's not coincidence. It's your field, the energy you carry, interacting with the universe. It's life responding to your vibration. Everything is adjusting around you, not because you're forcing it, but because you've reached a level of clarity where your energy speaks louder than words. The most powerful part of this process is that it happens without mental effort. You don't have to constantly focus or monitor your thoughts. You don't need to say the right affirmations all day long. When the vibration is truly embodied, it becomes automatic. The energy is already encoded into your system. The frequency is already anchored. Now the universe simply echoes what you're already being. And as this vibration settles into you more deeply, something even more rare begins to unfold. You stop being someone who just creates small adjustments in your own life. You become a quiet force that shifts the energy of everyone and everything around you. You become the source, the center, the living frequency that transforms the field. This change isn't dramatic or loud. It's subtle, but deeply felt. You no longer just attract what matches your energy. You now influence others through your presence alone. The field around you begins to ripple outward. Your vibration moves beyond your own healing and becomes medicine for others. Without saying a word, your presence begins to create shifts in rooms, in conversations, in relationships, in moments that used to be stuck. You walk in, and the atmosphere adjusts. People feel something they can't explain. Their energy responds to yours. It's as if your vibration reaches into places they forgot existed and gently touches something awake. Some people open up to you. Some feel emotional around you. Others feel drawn to you, while a few may want to pull away without knowing why. That's because your energy activates dormant spaces in them. It reflects truths they haven't faced yet. And it all happens in silence. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to explain who you are or what you believe. You don't have to be understood. Your frequency does all the talking. Your stillness creates permission. Your peace brings alignment. Your vibration holds the space for others to become more of who they are. Situations that used to be full of emotional tension soften in your presence. Conflict fades. Words come more gently. People start choosing clarity over chaos. Relationships that once felt repetitive start self-correcting, not because you're trying to fix them, but because your field now speaks a different language. This is what happens when your vibration stops reacting to the world and starts transmitting truth. Your energy becomes a silent signal. It shifts the invisible structures around you. This isn't imagination. It's not a metaphor. It's a real energetic state. Thoth called it the generative frequency. When a person truly stabilizes their inner frequency, they become a generator, a transmitter, a presence that reorganizes energy just by existing. They don't manipulate. They don't seduce. They don't convince. They simply are. And their being becomes a quiet, powerful force of coherence. It's not about charisma or psychological tricks. It's about deep alignment with truth. That kind of alignment speaks to the world before you ever open your mouth. Children feel it. Animals sense it. Plants respond to it. Heavy environments begin to lighten. Old energy starts dissolving. You begin to understand that your vibration has become a living prayer, a non-verbal message that whispers, "It's safe to come home." This vibration heals not because you try to heal, but because you carry wholeness. It reaches people before you touch them. It shifts rooms before you say a word. You begin to change lives without effort. But with this gift comes something sacred: responsibility. Because the moment your energy begins to influence others, the universe pays closer attention. You're no longer just creating for yourself. You've become part of something larger. Now, everything you feel, even silently, becomes more powerful. Your distortions become amplified. Your resistance becomes visible. You can no longer hide from yourself. Your vibration is now your voice. It's how the universe understands you. You can't fake peace. You can't pretend love. You can't say the right thing while feeling the wrong thing. The field now responds to vibration, not words. At this level, the only thing that works is truth. A question begins to rise, not from the mind, but from deep within your being. Are you truly ready to take responsibility for everything you radiate? This question won't be answered with a yes or no. It will be answered through your presence, through how you show up when no one is watching, through how you move when life gets hard, through how honest you are when things get quiet. When you carry this responsibility, the universe initiates you into the next phase. You enter a space where manifestation becomes immediate. There is no buffer, no delay, no hiding. What you are is what you experience. If you hold a fleeting doubt, it might return to you that same day. If you avoid a feeling, It could show up as a frustrating interaction or a block. Your field has become dense and powerful, and now everything you carry is amplified. The universe becomes a mirror so precise, so fast, that there is nowhere to hide. You can't pretend to be aligned. You either are or you're not, and life reflects that. Many people stumble here. They confuse vibrational authority with control over reality. But this stage isn't about control. It's about radical honesty. The stronger your field becomes, the more transparent you must be. Every hidden thought, every unresolved emotion, every small betrayal of your truth will appear, not to shame you, but to alert you. Elevation demands clarity. The more powerful you become, the more the universe requires precision. This isn't a punishment. It's alignment. You're not being tested to be broken. You're being refined to become unshakable. And what is vibrational integrity? It's when your thoughts, your energy, and your actions line up, even when no one is looking, even when it would be easier to fall back into old habits, even when your fear wants to take over. It's choosing to stay in the new frequency, silently, consistently, without needing applause. It's the quiet strength of not returning to chaos when you've already found peace. In this space, your vibration becomes your anchor, your guide, your authority. You no longer react from fear, anger, or insecurity. You respond from stability, from your center. That is true power. And it doesn't come from thinking. It comes from practice, from stillness, from choosing again and again to remain in alignment. The world around you will still test you, not to hurt you, but to strengthen you. Life will bring pressure, not to crush you, but to reveal your shape. And if you stay centered through the noise, something begins to shift. You stop chasing results. You stop needing to fix or prove or control. Time adjusts itself. Situations fall into place, not because you're pushing, but because your frequency is non-negotiable. Your energy becomes command, not by force, but through consistency. You've stopped being a reactor. You've become a creator. And if you pass through this phase without collapsing, if you stay grounded, true, open, and strong, you arrive at a turning point. The vibration you once had to work hard to hold becomes natural. The alignment that once took effort now flows with ease. You stop trying to manifest, and you simply allow. You don't feel urgency anymore. You don't feel lack. What once felt far away feels present. You no longer seek the path. You become the path. The world around you shifts without resistance. People show up. Answers arrive. Situations resolve. Not because you willed it, but because you matched it. This is the space where reality dances with you, where flow replaces force, where clarity doesn't need to be chased because it's already here. This is the vibration of freedom, not the absence of action, but the absence of friction, the end of striving, the end of pretending, the end of needing. You no longer have to keep your mind busy with techniques or visualizations. You no longer need to say the right things to feel okay. That phase is over. You've become the frequency. And now, the field responds before you even speak. Manifestation becomes a natural extension of who you are. Life aligns with you not because you tried, but because you remembered. You stop asking for what you don't have. You start embodying what you already are. This is the continuous quantum flow the ancients spoke of, a space where time softens. The past loses its grip. The future no longer scares you. The present becomes enough. You live from your center, and from that center, everything radiates with harmony. Synchronicities become normal. Peace becomes your baseline. Guidance comes in silence. Intuition becomes precise. Life stops feeling like a chase and begins to feel like a rhythm. And in this rhythm, you feel something sacred. Not excitement, not apathy, but calm. Deep, holy calm. The kind that feels like the universe is breathing through you. You don't channel the message anymore. You are the message. You don't look for the connection. You are the connection. You don't need signs. You are the sign. And from this space, something even deeper emerges. Your true purpose begins to awaken. Not the one others gave you. Not the one you used to dream of, but the one you carried inside all along. It rises with clarity, with beauty, with quiet truth. You begin to understand. You weren't here to conquer the world. You were here to remember yourself. You weren't activated to have a better life. You were activated because the world needed a stable frequency. And now, you are that frequency. You are the anchor. The vibration you hold now spreads. It moves through places, people, and systems. It heals spaces just by entering them. It dissolves old patterns. It breaks down stuck energy. It doesn't need words. It doesn't need explanation. It just works. Have you noticed how some people light up a room without trying? How some moments with certain souls feel like something heavy left your body? That's the field. That's the frequency. That's what you've become. You are now a conscious transmitter, and every being who stabilizes this energy helps the collective rise. When enough people hold this frequency, reality itself begins to shift. Old structures collapse. Truth rises. Healing spreads. Not because someone shouted, but because the vibration changed. This is why you were called. Not to learn more techniques. Not to perform. Not to prove, but to be. Not to wait for the miracle, but to become the miracle. This path was never about building a better ego. It was about returning to your soul, about becoming the vibration of light, of wholeness, of truth. You're not here by accident. If you've made it this far, something in you already knew, already felt, already remembered. Now the field has changed, and so have you. Speak it, own it, feel it, declare it, not as a wish, but as a fact. My presence is a new frequency, and that phrase is not just a sentence. It's a vibration, a code, a truth, and the moment you embody it, everything else begins to shift around you too. You've already begun. You've already arrived. The new frequency is here, and it's you.